My name is Paul Chichester. I'm the Director of Operations at the NCSC, and I'm incredibly privileged to today be interviewing Victor Zora. Victor is the Deputy Chairman and Chief Transformation Officer in the Ukrainian government, and it's a privilege to have him here today in the lead up to CYBERUK. So Victor, welcome to the UK. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
So first question for you really. Ukraine's been incredibly successful in defending itself over the last year. What do you put that down to in terms of the reasons behind that defense?
Well, Paul, there are many reasons. And the first reason, I hope that Ukraine was able to build its cyber capacities prior to war. We were expecting this war, and it became visible in the end of 2021. So we started preparing to it. And luckily, we were assisted from many of international technical assistance projects by our partners. So we were able to build capacities to grow and prepare workforce, to improve coordination between national cybersecurity agencies. So we did our job, and we expected the war to happen. And of course, its cyber component, as we are dealing with a hybrid war for the last almost 9 years. Actually, the cyber aggression escalated on January 14th, just a year ago, and almost a month prior to war. I think that Russians have used and burned many accesses prior to the invasion. That meant that in the first phase and first months of war, they required a lot of density to support the kinetic attacks, and it's always difficult to allocate enough resources, time and human resources and financial to combine a sophisticated attack. But they appeared lately in 1 month. Perhaps, and we faced more sophisticated attacks on critical infrastructure, Ukrainian government entities, etc., etc. But again, it requires a lot of time to plan. And when you don't have this time, or for instance, because of sanctions, when you don't have resources, infrastructures, hardware, software, or every intelligence in the world is looking at you when you're buying some virtual environments to conduct these attacks, it's rather complicated. And again, to maintain this highest density of cyber attacks, more professionals are required. And as we know, cyber professionals are smart enough to avoid being involved in this aggression. They left the country. And even during the conscription in this autumn, I'm confident Russians were able to hire enough professionals to scale up these attacks. Again, with the help of volunteers that started paying greater interest to Russians' infrastructure, I think all the offensive specialists became busy with protecting of their own infrastructures, and at the same time, Ukrainian cyber defenders hopefully were good enough to maintain the required level of protection of our networks, and that is done with the help of our partners, because we were proposed such huge amount of assistance that allow us to ensure this level of cyber resilience for the country over the last 11 months, and I hope that we will do our best to keep it our victory.
Thank you. So you touch on there sort of the help you've had, and again, I think there's been an incredible response from around the world. But one of the questions I was interested in asking you is that help is obviously welcome, but can actually also create a lot more work having to sort of manage all of those offers of help. How have you sort of managed to deal with that and take those offers of support, capability, intelligence, and integrate them into your sort of day-to-day missions?
Well, it was such huge amount of assistance proposed that I'm constantly thinking that I missed something very important from it. And I'm still reading messages on LinkedIn and other messages from many people from all around the world. And I know how difficult it is to find the right person whom you can contact to and come to an agreement on the amount of assistance and help. And we shared this responsibility with the Ministry of Digital Transformation, which is led by Deputy Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov. And so there were guys in his team who communicated to our partners. The triple SCRP was focused on assistance in cyber protection, and I took most of these responsibilities, being not directly engaged into technical aspects of cyber protection, letting our people be focused on these aspects. But again, this work continues, and it's so crucial for our cyber defense to have this assistance. Many requests, many proposals, but we need to review and to consider all of them, because I understand that's a sublimation of energy for many people, many friends of Ukraine around the world. Sublimation of their will to somehow help Ukraine, and if it happens in their professional domain, it's great for us, and it's our privilege and our responsibility to consider all of them and find the right place in our cybersecurity system for these solutions and for these services.
Cool, thank you. So again, a lot of offers of help. The UK and Ukraine have worked closely, and we provided support as well with our department in the Foreign Office and Foreign Affairs. Could you say a little bit about how that support from the FCDO and the UK has helped Ukraine and helped you defend Ukraine?
Help from FCDO is fantastic. Perhaps I cannot cover all the aspects of this help for obvious reasons, but there is a dedicated project at FCDO, which is combined by many solutions and vendors which are very helpful for Ukraine. Data protection, SOC automation, threat intelligence, network protection, incident response, investigations. All of these areas are included in this project, and this assistance is very important for us and crucial for our cyber resilience.
So we've been looking back a bit. Let's look forward into 2023. How do you think you see the sort of threat changing through this year, and how are you getting ready to respond to that?
Rewinding to the beginning of war, a huge threat like Viasat attack on the satellite network, which provided collateral damage to thousands of users in Europe, except Ukrainian armed forces, which use this communication link as the backup. There was a huge start of this aggression, and it was followed by many less sophisticated attacks, but with a huge number of them. And finally, it became more structured. When serious threat actors appeared on the scene, it was followed with attack on Ukrainian power grid, or telecom providers, government entities, and it's been maintained on the same level. Now we don't see any particular strategy of our adversary, because they are seeking for opportunities, seeking for vulnerabilities. So they try to exploit these vulnerabilities, provide persistence in networks, and then decide how they more effectively use these persistence for their goals, from which I can identify three. So I would classify these attacks into three groups, and the first group is sowing of propaganda, of disinformation, and for instance, interception of air, of broadcasting, or defacement of web resources can be attributed to this group of attacks. The next is cyber espionage, and that means that their goal is to provide persistent in networks and try exploit some important data from our networks. And the third group is direct impact And these destructive attacks, often with the use of vipers, in some cases are supportive to kinetic attacks on the battlefield and kinetic attacks on Ukrainian peaceful cities and civilian infrastructure. Uh, so these tactics continues to be quite opportunistic, but we shouldn't under-evaluate our adversary, because time works for them in case we are not united in countering of this aggression. We are not united in putting sanctions, both financial and technological, on the aggressor. And we are not united in starting of the process of bringing to accountability of these military caucus responsible for these cyber attacks against Ukraine and against our partner countries and our allies. Um, for now, we continue observing the particular interest for Ukrainian power grids and critical infrastructure, and it is combined with seeking for opportunities to attack them in cyber. And that means that our focus on cyber defense will remain in this domain for critical infrastructure. And by the way, our service recently acquired this new function of being responsible for protecting critical infrastructure in the country. And I hope that together with all stakeholders inside the country will be effective in managing of these very important tasks.
So this war has probably been the first time that cyber operations have been used so extensively and for such a long time. As somebody who's led the team successfully defending that, and probably the first time in history that teams really had to do that, what advice would you give to others who are building national capabilities and the things they should be focusing on that they might need to call on in the future?
Which is one of the reasons why cyber component isn't so destructive and important in this hybrid war, because when adversary has right to send missile to Ukrainian residential quarters or maternity hospitals, schools, universities, obviously these strikes can bring huge impact to our infrastructure instead of cyber attacks. And that's why kinetic strikes are preferred to cyber attack. But at the same time, as the digital transformation continues and it covers more aspects of human's life and global economy, the importance of cyber threats and countermeasures will grow. And I think in case we're not paying a great interest in protecting of our assets, it will be easier for the attacker to use these opportunities, which can be used in covert style instead of openly shelling of cities. And importance of cyber component in modern war will grow. So we should clearly understand these perspectives and become united in countering of these threats. So I hope that we'll be able to create some kind of coalition of countries with responsible behavior in cyberspace and exchange experience, improve our cooperation more extensively, exchange information on threats to contribute to every stakeholder's cyber security system, and therefore building a more robust global cybersecurity ecosystem.
So thank you. So Victor, thank you ever so much for joining us today. Can I just say we're hugely privileged to work with you, and in awe of your courage, fortitude, resilience over the last year. And I know the whole of the UK looks to work with you and help you defend your nation into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Likewise, it's a great privilege, and many thanks to the UK for helping Ukraine and standing with Ukraine. It's so important for us in these challenging times.